I just want to make a little video to go over some information on the car. I get a lot of guys asking me what's done to the car. Is it all show and no go? Why do you drive an ugly yellow convertible Sn95? So I just want to go over a little bit of information on the car. And although while it does look pretty, it does look a little bit feminine, but it does have a little bit of a bark, or a little bit of a bite to back up the bark. So we'll go over a little bit of information that I can remember off the top of my head about the car. I did buy the car back in, I don't know, August of 2014. The car was stock except for the styling bar that you can see there, and a set of Flowmaster American Thunder Series catback exhaust system. Other than that, the car was completely stock. Bought this thing with like 150,000 miles. It is the original paint. The only thing I have touched with the paint is adding the wing, and I did the mirrors and the hood. Other than that, this paint is completely original from 1994. The top is the original top from 1994. Seats in the back are original. I just ripped out the seats not too long ago. We'll start with the look stuff since you can see that on the outside. So again, you know, it is a 94 canary yellow Mustang convertible. Original 5-liter car. I added the Boss Inc. Y2K Cobra R hood. I think they rate this at a 3.5-inch cowl over stock, 3.5 inches over stock in the middle. It does look pretty high. It is a little intimidating, but it is actually not that bad. You get used to it. A lot of people ask me, is that cowl functional? They see fiberglass in the back and say, oh, that's not a functional cowl, you don't have cutouts. Well, I don't know if you can see inside there, but you got an area. I'm touching my intake manifold right now. You got like a 2 or 3 inch gap in there where you can get into the motor. So yes, it is functional hood. It is high. It is not for the faint of heart whatsoever. But I wanted something that was a little bit different. I originally ordered a Cerini's single step cowl, and it came in. It was kind of fucked up, so I sent it back. And I've been eyeing up this hood for a while. However, it's just a big hood, and I couldn't do it. I'm a clean car guy. I don't like body kits. I don't like big obnoxious shit, but you know, I got a Mustang now, and big obnoxious hoods kind of go together with Mustangs. But it does the trick. I get a lot of compliments on the car since adding that. So yeah, I mean, I'll show you the inside of the hood then. The mirrors are the factory mirrors. I decided while I was in for paint, I hated that ugly ABS plastic shit that was on there, so I had the mirrors sprayed also while I was there. And that paint matching is with 23-year-old paint. So my paint guy did a pretty damn good job. You can notice a slight difference between the fenders and the hood when there's some overcast, but otherwise he did a damn good job with it. Going on the back, the wing is the Canon S281 wing. Again, it was one of those, I was doing the hood and I was like, well, I can't do the hood without doing the wing, so decided to add the wing. Turned out pretty cool. Tail lights, I took them off and polished them up and resprayed them. I just rattle canned them with a, I think it was a Duplicolor chrome yellow. They are slightly different shade, and they do not look great. I'm gonna be outright and say I suck at painting, so they are not great. These things are a bitch to tape up, all those individual bars. You know, but otherwise, compared to what they were, you know, if you're more than a foot away from these things, they look great. So honestly, on the looks end, we do have the CDC styling bar. Provides no chassis stability whatsoever, does nothing but looks cool. I took it off to do something in the interior the one day and it looks retarded with it off, so I just keep it on. Otherwise it does nothing. I'm going to pull it out to do a cage one of these days. I'm just kind of putting it off as much as I can. Going on to the rolling stock, I don't get too many guys making fun of me for having rep wheels, but you know, they're rep wheels. They're XXR 531s. The rears are a 17x10 with a 20mm offset, I believe it is, and fronts are 17x9 with a 25mm offset. Honestly, you know, I always liked the CCW Classics. I want a little bit different wheel. The Sn95 guys always run saline reps, or you know, FR500s or bullets or some other stupid shit like that. I wanted something a little bit different. When I got these, they were different. And honestly, I did have CCW money, but you're gonna see from the money that's in the car, if I'd have bought CCWs, I would not have had money for all the Go Fast stuff and all the other cool shit on it. So I decided to skimp on the wheels for now and go with a real CCW or HRE setup later, after I got all the other stuff done that I'd consider to be primary stuff. The tires are Nitto NT05s. Fronts are 255/40/17s, and the rears again are NT05s in a 275/40/17. These are overall great tires when it's warm. When they're cold, you know, they will spin. You'll have a little bit of traction problems in the cold, but when they are warm, these son of a bitches hook. I'm making a decent amount of power. We'll get into that later, but they do hook. Brakes, I just went with a cheap, I think they're a Power Stop slotted and drilled rotor with matching pads. Got them off of Rock Auto, pretty cheap. Can't complain. You know, I needed replacement shit because my backs were beat, so I just got a whole set for cheap. Again, they do the trick. They add to the look and performance a little bit. You're gonna see I don't have regular valve stems. I have flush valve stem caps. Those add a little bit of an extra look also. I kind of like them. We'll go on to the suspension. So you can see my rear is not quite as low as the front. The car is not slammed. I did not want a slammed car. I wanted a just enough car. With it being a convertible, convertibles do sit a little bit lower than the coupes on the normal springs. All the springs are universal pretty much, but the convertibles do sit a little bit lower. These springs are the Sn95 Sport springs. I forget the actual drop. It's not much. Well, when you see what it looked like stock, it actually is a lot, but you'll see I do still have a gap in the front. I got like a 2-finger gap in the front, and the rears are, you know, just barely 3 fingers. I do wish it was a little bit lower, but I don't scrape shit up, so I'm cool with that. The rear is going to have some adjustability. I wanted it a little bit higher to put a tire on it when I race it, but I did just purchase some Maximum Motorsports Extreme lower control arms with the adjustable perch, so that will allow me some adjustability. I don't know how much we'll be able to see in here, but you see I have Bilstein dampers with the Sn95 Sport springs. I do have those all around. Like I said, I do have the control arms coming in also. For adjusting the camber, probably didn't need them a ton, but I did do them anyway. I have the Maximum Motorsports caster camber plates. We'll pop the hood here quick. So we do have the Maximum Motorsports caster camber plates. My camber was a little bit off, even though it wasn't lowered a lot. These did do the trick, plus they're nice pieces. And that is the suspension stuff. For chassis, so far I do have the Maximum Motorsports full length subframe connectors. Yes, I know they're red. I'm not very fond of them being red. However, shop painted them, and I showed up and they were like, oh look, you got red bars. The rear end, I have a 373 gear in it. Got those when the car was NA. It does the trick, you know, blows through a little bit of gas, but you know, as you can see, gas probably doesn't matter too much as you see that supercharger sitting about the fender. The underside of the Boss Inc. hood, this is an awesome hood. This hood, when it came from Boss, was 22 pounds. This is a very lightweight hood. Hood has plenty of clearance, as you can see from the underneath. I have, you know, at least a hand of extra clearance there. I don't need a clearance right now at this point, but I will in the future. This motor will be coming out as a high mileage motor. It makes power, but yeah, it needs to be replaced. I want to max out that blower. Another thing I forgot to mention, I did do the OEM Cobra headlights on it. I got these all hazed and beat up from a salvage place, so I did restore those a little bit. Fog lights are still factory. You can barely see them in there because they're so hazed up. I do have a new set of fog lights coming in this week for it. I'm going to work on the lighting a little bit. Engine stuff. So you can see, I mean, other than that thing right there, this thing looks pretty stock. It kind of is. You'll see I added and I got some of these parts back when I didn't really have much money. I didn't know how much I wanted to screw with it, and then I just said, screw it, I'm going to start dumping all kinds of crap into this thing. So I got a Cobra intake manifold from a 94-95 Mustang. You will see it has a BBK 70mm throttle body. You will see the Vortec, it's a V2 SQ setup. I have a metal discharge pipe. Those are kind of hard to find. I do have a metal discharge pipe though. I have an Anderson Motorsports power pipe going down in the fender. It is a PMAS Sn95 setup, I think is the part number. It's a 95mm MAF with a slot sensor on it. And it's got like a 4-inch by 8-inch K&N filter on it. AC is gone. I've been driving a car for the last 3 years without air conditioning, so I said fuck it and pulling the air conditioning out, so I do have some extra leeway. All the smog stuff in EGR is gone. I did not like to do it, but there is a Steeda Motorsports smog pump pulley delete kit. I did not have a delete kit when the car was NA, but once I put the Vortec on it, the alternator went from like here to there, and without running a pulley delete, there was not enough belt wrap, so I had to put some. I tried everything under the sun, changing pulleys, doing all kinds of crazy shit. I could not get enough belt wrap to where that serpentine belt would not squeal on startup. So that did fix the problem. Not happy about it, but that did fix it. Upper end, they are stock heads. However, they are GT40 heads. They are 3-bar heads off of an Explorer or something like that. Essentially, this can be considered a Cobra, I guess. It's got the Cobra manifold. Essentially, it's pretty much got Cobra heads. The only thing I touched on the heads, I did not port this manifold, did not polish anything, I didn't touch those heads. The only thing those heads were done was refreshed. They were looked over by a machine shop. They were cleaned up. I put some Scorpion 1.6 ratio roller rockers in them. I did put an Alex Parts spring kit in them with new seals and all that stuff. And the heads were slapped on. New ARP hardware, so the heads shouldn't go anywhere. I used ARP hardware everywhere I could. The bottom end, I mean, the car had 150-something thousand miles when I did that. Pulled out the heads. The bottom end still had the cross hatching in the cylinder walls. You know, everything looked good. So really didn't fuck with the bottom end because I didn't need to at that point. And I didn't know I was going to go boosted. I thought I was just going to play around with a 250 horsepower setup. So yeah, I mean, the car runs great. I don't have any issues with it. It's got 155 and change on it now, and you know, it's got like 12 pounds of boost on it. Right here, you're gonna see a line that is for methanol injection. I do a water meth mix on this thing. When I first put the blower on, the car made okay power, but we were noticing that it was pulling a lot of timing because of heat. IATs were getting over 200 degrees. It was pulling a shit ton of timing. It just wasn't making any power. It's a Devil Zone stage 1 kit. You know, it's a real basic kit. I got a 10 gallon per hour nozzle on it. Car picked up a little bit over 80 horsepower with the wheels with meth on it, so it's pretty considerable. The temps dropped by over 100 degrees. I think my temps under meth are going down to like 89 degrees, something to that number. So it put all the timing back in. You can see I just got a basic Hobbs switch for that. I have that set at 4 pounds of boost. I may get a controller one day for it, but I don't know. I mean, this is simple. I've read a lot of shit about the controllers causing problems, so I don't mess with that too much. I wanted to keep it simple. The car's simple and it works. You're going to see a homemade air oil separator I made from Home Depot parts. It's not the greatest thing, but it works. It catches a little bit of oil. I'm going to be swapping out to like a JLT or a Moroso setup soon. Another thing to keep crankcase pressure down, this is a Central Florida Motorsports. People are going to bitch at me for having a breather on here, but this is actually check valved. There's a ball in there that only relieves pressure one way. It's a check valve. So I am not venting to the atmosphere. I don't have an open vacuum leak like everybody's going to say. This was thought out, and it does keep from blowing out my dipstick. Other than that, I just got some Ford Racing plug wires and an MSD cap. It is still the stock distributor. Everything else is stock minus the exhaust stuff. I got some Ford Motorsports ceramic coated headers, they're shorties. I did switch out the dipstick with a low car unit, a flexible unit. The stock dipstick was leaking a couple weeks ago, and instead of fucking around with that and bending it around the headers, I got a low car unit. I wish I would have done that years ago. That has made my life a lot easier. I'm trying to think if there is anything else in the motor. I mean, it's pretty simple setup. Drivetrain, like I said, it's got 373 Ford Racing gears in it. Did all new fluids, royal purple in the back. I think it's Mobil 1 in the trans. I don't remember. It's been a few years. I got AMSOIL Z-Rod in the car right now. Seems to be reacting good with it. Fuel, I have Siemens Deca 60cc injectors. I'm not using FMU or anything like that. I do have pretty good fuel system. I got a Walbro 255 liter per hour high pressure pump in the tank. No inline pump. Stock ignition. Got BBK off-road H pipes. Obviously no cats. Going out to that American Thunder Series exhaust. Other than that, again, pretty stock shit. The interior, we have the Evolution seats. Again, I wanted to do something a little different. I'm a pretty big guy. These seats are very forgiving on size. Otherwise, the interior's fairly stock. Otherwise, still got the rear seats. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Gauges. I have an AEM wideband odometer. I think they were Sport Comp 2 gauges for boost and fuel pressure. It is an electric fuel pressure sensor, so I do not have fuel running into the car. I got my Methanol light and my meth activation light. Trans, I do have a center force dual friction setup. The shifter is a Steeda track shifter with the matching Steeda shift knob. You cannot find those shift knobs anymore. I kind of wanted it just for a retro thing because you cannot find those. Thing shifts good. I'm actually surprised the tranny's still holding together, but again, I don't beat the shit out of this thing on the street really, so it's a non-issue. Electronics, I have a Ford Motorsports speed calibrator to fix the gears. I don't want to have to go in and screw with gears, and that way if I change gears again, I have something that's programmable, so I can adjust that. I did swap out to a 99 to 04 double din, and also did the matching shifter console. Ford changed from actual black from 94 to 98, and then their black in 99 to 04 was a charcoal color, and that drove me nuts seeing them side by side, so I did swap those out to match. Otherwise, the electronic shit is, you know, all stock. And again, you'll see car's got 155,316 miles on it. And yeah, I mean, it runs. You'll see I have my iHome magnetic vent clip on there. That thing holds my phone in place, full boost, banging gears, no problems. Best $7 I spent to keep my phone in my car. I do have app radio on that. It has the Apple app radio. I'll see if I can turn that on to see part of the screen. Not a lot of people know about this. I don't think it's a very popular unit, but I think it's cool. It's got all the capacitive touch buttons. I don't know, it's like a 7 point whatever inch screen. Got the Apple CarPlay. Once I plug it in, I got full functionality from my phone. I have all my apps. I don't know how much of this you're going to see without my phone plugged in, but I can get maps, HDMI cable, and get a whole bunch of other apps and all kinds of other shit. So this is a pretty cool unit. Got it real cheap. Have no complaints about it. I know a lot of guys like to hear this thing fired up, so we'll fire it up. So you hear it's got a little bit of a grumble. Oh yeah, I forgot to add, it does have a trick flow stage 1 cam in it. So you hear a little bit of grumble. It does make some noise. It gets a little obnoxious above 2 grand. When you're full throttle, the thing's loud as fuck. It's just got a nice tone, no other. You hear the blower whining a little bit. You can only hear the blower whining at idle. Once you get on it, it does not make any noise that I can hear unless my exhaust is so loud. It makes a little bit of noise. It's got that nice American muscle rumble to it. But yeah, otherwise, the car currently on the 3.3-inch pulley. I did not change the pulley from Vortec. As the stock pulley, it was rated at, I don't know, 6 or 8 pounds. And I didn't change the pulley because I knew I had stock heads on it. It was going to bump the boost, and that power pipe bumps the boost. It's making about 12 pounds of boost at redline right now. Car makes 453 horsepower, and I think it was like 439 foot-pounds of torque. Again, this is stock 155,000 miles shit. So the car's doing it. The car boogies on stock stuff. I plan on taking out the motor maybe sometime later this year after I park the car after the summer and start building something. I don't know if I want to do a dart block or if I want to start with 351 and just do forged internals. If I can max out that blower, I mean, that'll be pretty rad. Otherwise, I mean, it is a street car. I don't beat on it. I really shouldn't go nuts with it like I'm gonna, but you know, hey, it's cool to say you got like a 700 horsepower-ish car that you drive on the street. We'll have to adjust a few things after that, but and that's what the plan is for the car. Right now, though, I mean, it's fun at that horsepower level. These are heavy cars. They're old cars. A lot of old shit in them. The little suspension stuff that I did do to the car handles well. Well enough for a solid axle rear end car, and you know, 23-year-old piece of American iron stuff. I have more of an import background, driven a lot of other sports cars, you know, mid-end sports cars that normal people can afford. While this doesn't handle like a lot of those, it's nice and tight now. The subframe connectors tighten things up. The suspension was thawed out. It works. You can throw it into turns. The tires do what they got to do. And you know, all around, it's a fun car. People seem to like it on the streets. I don't get made fun of too much anymore for driving a yellow convertible Mustang because now it's got some power. But yeah, I got a lot of thumbs up, a lot of people digging it. We'll see what the progress is going to happen with it. I'll pop the trunk quick so you can see how I did the meth setup. I have a bunch of shit in the back to detail it with, but otherwise I did a pretty clean setup. A small 3-quart container, and I snugged it in there. I cut out the beauty panel on the trunk that covers the spare tire well, and right there's the pump. Again, it's pretty hidden. Try to keep it as neat as I could. I got a few other pieces coming out for the car this week, but otherwise that's the gist of it. If you guys like what you see, post in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram. It's PM Performance, all one word. Check me out and subscribe on Instagram, and one of these days I'll get a better camera and I'll start posting some cool shit up here as I get some time. It's kind of new to the channel and just figure I start putting some more car stuff up. Seems like you guys are liking Project Dirty Banana a little bit, so I figure I'd get a little bit more info out there. Again, like the video, share it, give me some love, and I'll start doing some more videos, and maybe I'll start doing some cool shit with some burnouts and some rolling shots or whatever Mustang guys do. Maybe I'll do some wheel stands or something. Yeah, dig it. Have a good day, guys.